It really is.
Greetings and blessings, everyone. My name is James Thomas, and this is James Russell of the FNQ Spiritual Group. And this is our next episode in our podcast series. And today's topic is light and dark in relation to planet Earth. How are you doing today, young James?
I'm doing very well today. It's been a busy week for me, so getting organized and stuff like that. So personally,
Now we do
and
need
your week been?
to make a little bit of an announcement. Um,
Mm.
young James here is going to be going on a little bit of a trip this Wednesday. And so for the next few weeks, we're going to have a guest host of the podcast. Her name is Chris Marshall. She currently resides in Napier, New Zealand, on the North Island. And her and her lovely husband is going to be moving up here to Cairns, and they're going to be part of the FNQ Spiritual Group. And so she'll be joining me for the next several weeks while young James is out and about and having some rest and relaxation.
Oh, definitely need it though.
Now
Been a
there's
year in the
a
making.
now there's a lot of focus around what we term good and evil, light and dark. Now there is a one thing that I wanted to say straight up is there is a tendency to think that in order to evolve, in order to move forward on one's path, one has to be of the light. They have to deal with their shadow side or their dark side and move into the light fully and completely. And there's always been talk amongst metaphysical people or what we term New Age people about the light having to overcome the darkness. Now,
It's it's an interesting from my perspective that it's an interesting um, way to go generally. Now, it's like if you're trying to deal with your dark side or your light side, and it makes no it to me it made no sense. Honestly, it was making no sense. You go shadow work. What the heck is shadow work? You've got to accept all parts of you, whether it be light or dark.
well, here's a simple question.
Mm,
Can you truly understand the light if you do not understand darkness, or vice versa?
no, no.
Which is why, generally speaking, especially amongst star seeds, there is a tendency to have lifetimes of light and lifetimes of darkness.
Mm-hmm.
There is a concept that the greatest power in the universe is love. However, the true greatest power in the universe is balance,
It is.
balancing the light and the dark within. Now, one thing that we have shown, or what has been shown through countless incarnations, countless time on this planet, is that in any individual, because this is a planet of duality, this is a planet where every single individual, no matter whether they're a humanity of Earth or a star seed, is capable of incredible goodness or light and incredible darkness or evil.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask this question. Let us say that, well, can you evolve going down the pathway of light and darkness, or just one or the other,
Mm.
in your opinion?
In my opinion, you can going down one pathway. Um,
But I mean, in order to evolve Do you have to choose one pathway or another?
No, I I reckon you need to understand both in order to evolve. Um, Ultimately, at the end of the day, it's this. You could end up going down one pathway, but at the beginning of the path, you need to understand both
Well, that's
in order.
why, like generally, individuals live lifetimes of light and lifetimes of darkness. You see,
Exactly.
in order to, or a planet of duality and density, you have to have both light and dark so that people have a choice. Now, to give an example of evolution, you look in as far as those of darkness go, you look at, say, World War II. Now, this was a very dark time in human history, but the bottom line is that when World War II first started, they were using biplanes, so planes with dual wings.
Your
By the
wings,
end of
yeah,
World War II, you had a situation where the German army actually had jet aircraft.
you did.
You had
Um,
Werner von Braun, who was the father of rocketry. He's the one who created or developed the V1 and the V2 rockets that bombed England. Now, the interesting aspect of him, he's a full-on Nazi. So we are classified, or we are told through history that Nazism is evil.
mhm.
And yet the United States did an operation called Operation Paperclip, where they spirited out all of these German Nazis, like scientists and stuff like that, because Werner von Braun was one of the very first directors of NASA. And there were many high ranking Nazis, like generals and stuff like that, that were the initial leaders of NATO. That's what
I'm just
NATO was
wondering
built on.
at at that time, I'm wondering whether the United States actually saw the potential in these and what these guys were doing.
Of course they did. I mean, think about it. The Nazi regime, the scientists and stuff were able to create jet aircraft.
Mm,
And so all of a sudden we're in a situation where like so you had technologically a great deal of evolution happen in World War II, but also there was a great evolution that occurred in medicine and things of this nature. I remember when I was growing up, one of my favorite TV shows that I would watch was MASH.
yeah.
Now, MASH the scene was set in the Korean War. And MASH, of course, is doctors and nurses and stuff like this. And I remember that there was an episode where Alan Alda's character, Hawkeye, and stuff like this were talking, and they said, because it's wartime, we have been evolving medicine left, right, and center because they had to find new ways to save limbs, to heal people, to keep people alive. So it's like even in darkness, there is evolution. In the
Mhm.
light side is more along the lines of you do things in this manner, in this way. It's all about love and light. You allow other people to do whatever they want, but you have to maintain a particular framework of love and light and stuff like this. That's what I've always been told, and that's what's always been shared with me. I
Yeah.
remember when we were at the spiritual center one day, and someone went off on me, and I spoke back to them. I had someone say, don't say anything because it's all about love and light.
And the exact same thing was pretty much said to me, and I turned around and said to them, what did I say? I said, but I'm not of I'm not of light, nor am I of darkness.
Correct. Now, here's the more
And
interesting concept. We are in a situation right now on this planet where there is tremendous darkness.
mm-hmm,
There is, if you look at it, the humanity of Earth are or what we term the native humans. They're the ones that are in the Earth school, that are in their process of evolution. But if you'll look at it honestly, you can honestly see how the humanity of Earth has been tied down and controlled for centuries, for many, many centuries. So
yeah,
let me ask this question. If you wanted to free the humanity of Earth so that they could truly step forward honestly from their heart, who would you utilize to set them free?
to set them free, you would use, honestly, darkness. To be honest, it's more
Correct.
chaotic. It's more chaotic, but it's very revealing.
Correct. So if you look at it, there are now normally when you talk about star seeds, the main focus is on light workers. And
Mm-hmm,
there are light workers from Sirius, from the Pleiades. There are some light workers from Lyra, from Andromeda, from many different areas of the universe. But there are also many dark workers here as well. I've run into them in many different environments. The first time was in Northern California. We went to a crystal shop, and I was in there for about 5 minutes. The crystals and the energy of the crystals were fine, but there was something that would just kept bugging me because it's like there was something wrong in the energy in there. And it
mm-hmm.
turned out that the guy who owned and ran the place was reptilian. And then there have been many times that I've been into metaphysical bookshops and things like this, and it's like, or spiritual centers, and it's like you run into these individuals who are actually of darkness, but there's been so much vilification about those of darkness that they pretend that they're of light. They don't actually recognize or acknowledge the fact that they're of darkness. But the
No,
one thing that happens is sooner or later they will show you their true colors.
and that's exactly right. It's a matter of it is a matter of time for when beings of darkness or star seeds of darkness will show you their true colors. And even if you don't look, they will still do it. Now, I for one know that it's a given. It happens. Um, I've seen it probably more often than I should have, but not understanding it, what was happening. But in time, people reveal themselves.
Can you give an example?
Let me see. We've got was working for the service station. This is the most recent one I can work. Was working for a service station, so petrol station sort of situation, where one of the women there was a being of darkness. In fact, she was reptilian. Now, there was a situation where she'd gone away and come back again. Unbeknownst to me, that she was poisoning everyone against me at the time. And then I started seeing signs of bits and pieces that didn't add up. But we had a new manager there, and she was poisoning the manager with words. And it wasn't until we had a big blow up about, her telling me what to do. And when she came back to the thing, she was like, when I first started, she was the manager. When she'd left and she came back, we were on equal paths. And she had a habit of telling everyone what to do and how to do things. And it got to me to one day where I'd walked in the store and it was an absolute mess. And I had to go around and clean up after this person. And we were on the same shift. And then she kept telling me what to do. I'd had enough. And I turned around to her and said to her, "You can't tell me what to do. You are not my manager any longer." Now, I said that in a very calm manner, but I was very aware of what my emotions were at the time, because nobody had stood up to her. And I got a full blast of her screaming in my face and everything. And it came to a fact that it was just one of those things that happened. And then all the other pieces of the puzzle actually started falling into place. Now, when we had that blow up, they decided to split us, so I would come on after she leaves for the day, which is not a problem. I don't, didn't mind passing thing. And it wasn't for a fact that when they forced me to leave, that they found out that she was actually the problem behind the problems. So everything was aimed at me, and I was the problem, all because she was whispering in their ears that I was the problem. So when I left, they actually found out that she was actually the problem, because everything had shifted to everybody else, which was interesting for everyone. So they found out that, yeah. But then the day they swapped us, so I was on an afternoon shift. They swapped us from being off in the morning to an afternoon shift. I had actually saw her true form, and it was very revealing. I've never seen that before.
Now, let me ask this question, because I realize that for many people, when they get faced with something like this, there's a tendency to have a great deal of fear. So when you saw her true self come to you and expose herself to you, was there any fear from you on your side?
It was more of a shock than anything.
What was the shock part?
The shock part was actually physically seeing this, seeing the being itself within the body. It was like seeing somebody's insides without going through an X-ray.
Right. No, I understand
It,
that.
it's it's very weird, and it was very, very revealing. And it was just the fact that we just happened to be passing, and this thing had, like, what was it? I walked in and I was going around so how this place is set up is like, you walk in, you walk through this staff only door, to the left was one way to get to the office, to the right was to the office. But I was going to hang out the back anyway, out the back in the storeroom. So in behind that, there's a wall and then the storeroom. So I was hanging around. I was going to hang around the back, and the fact that she pulled the middle finger salute to me is when it actually happened, and I was just like, I was shocked. I quickly went out the back and to the left hand side. There was no fear over it. I was just like, caution would be the more optimal word for it. It was being cautious, and it's like I didn't want to, you know, anger her in that sort of in that way for the rest of the staff that were on, because you know, she was very volatile, volatile, quick to temper, sort of thing. So yeah, so it's like thing, but yeah, I just my jaw dropped when I'd seen that, and I had to quickly pick it up and walk off to
Well,
what I saw.
for me, it's like I'm of the mindset that I will assist anyone who comes to me from their heart. I don't care
Mm-hmm.
if they're of light or darkness. Now, the one thing when I'm working with people and I work with them for quite a while, I tend to be very honest with them. I want to make sure that the information that they're operating with is the best information for them.
Mm-hmm.
And there was the one individual that used to do readings on my off of my page for a very long time, and it was quite interesting because one day I realized that she was of darkness. Now, it was kind of an interesting situation because it wasn't just that she was of darkness, but she was actually from a world that was in the process of transferring from being of darkness to that of light. Like I said, how can you understand darkness if you don't understand the light, or vice versa? And this world had been of darkness for an extremely long period of time. And so I had given her a great deal of assistance. But one day I sat down with her and I said, I need to tell you what I've gotten. You have to discern for yourself, but here it is. And I explained to her what the situation was, what I've gotten about her. And from that point, she broke off all communication. She withdrew from the page. And then she spent the next several months bad mouthing me to every single person she could and everyone that I knew, simply
Yep.
because she was so pissed off that I don't know, maybe she was pissed off because I had discovered her dirty little secret. But it's like, I don't care. And this isn't, she wasn't the first to do it either.
No, I know
So
it's
at the end of the day, what
I was
I've
in the middle of that
discovered
too.
and what we've talked about in privately or not publicly per se is
Yep.
that those of darkness are the ones who are tearing down the it's like they're tearing down the very fabric of control. Now, something interesting that came to me the other day, there are certain countries like Iran, believe it or not, Iran, Syria, Saudi Arabia, China, Russia, that run a very strong feminine energy. Now, you may disagree with that because you say, well, look at how the Saudi government is towards women or whatnot. That's a religious type situation. That's not what I'm referring to. It's the underlying energy. Now, look at the other side of the coin. Countries like America, Australia, Canada, most of Europe, they run a very masculine energy. what's being destroyed? It's all the
The
countries
masculine.
that are running the masculine energy. And it's
Yeah.
because the masculine energy has been in control of this world, and that's switching to the feminine energy. Now, you might say, well, that you have to discern on what we're saying here, but the thing is, not everything is as it seems. It's like I come from America. I served in the US military. It was very disconcerting to me on the day that I realized, which was only a few months ago, that the majority of the problems in this world are created by the United States. That was very disconcerting to me. Now
Something
it's
I've known for a while.
yeah, but it's like you begin to realize these things. Now, the reason that it's happening is because the humanity of Earth or the native human population have made their choice on the direction they want to go in. But in order for that to start to move in that direction, you have to clear out the old energy. You have to let go of the old controls. And that's what's happening currently. So let me ask this
Yeah.
question. What's the strongest power, light or darkness, in your opinion?
Oh, that's a difficult one because they're equally as strong as each other.
Correct. That
But
is
it
correct.
but it all depends on the situation, whether it's going to be light, going to be the more powerful one, or the darkness being the more powerful one. So in this case, what's happening in the world with it being destroyed, darkness is the more powerful one for it to be used.
So it's
After
basically whichever one is in charge at that moment.
Mhm.
Because eventually, what I see happening is that the humanity of Earth will move more into alignment with balance. It doesn't mean that there won't still be individuals doing bad things or good things or whatnot, but in general terms, it'll be a much more balanced world.
Agreed. It's yeah, it needs to happen. A world does need to be more in balance than of the light or of the dark, and having both uh, within one planet, like of light and of dark, gives that balance a good go.
Well, it's you have to be more in balance in order to fulfill the notion of evolution.
You do, yeah. Definitely. And sometimes I wish more worlds were actually like that, but it's just one of those things, unfortunately, until that realization happens, or that say a leader is born within that sort of planetary evolve um, evolution. It's not going to happen, but
Well,
I'd
uh,
like to see it a bit more.
personally speaking, I think it's going to be very interesting to see what transpires over the course of the next be, between now and the end of this year.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. It's like what what have these world leaders of ours here, what have they got in store for us over the next, was it 12, what are we on, February? 10 months, 10 and a half months.
Well, I think the thing is, there's this tendency to think that it has to be one way or another.
Yeah.
And the truth of the matter is, it can be a multitude of different ways without realizing that it is a multitude of different ways. And it's about opening the pathway within yourself to realize the joy of what is occurring and what is happening on a deeper level.
Exactly. It is. I mean, don't get me wrong. It is fascinating to see what is occurring currently, with the let's say the downfall of bits and pieces. I do see that, like, the media is it's quite entertaining at times. Like, it's just, they can't keep the same narratives that they did for so long.
Well, the problem is that more and more there's a movement towards honest reporting and honest communication, and this is going to be start changing everything in a very fundamental way.
Yeah, agreed. And it's yeah. Once the reporting starts being a bit more honest and a bit more, how should I say, from the heart, or from one's perspective, rather than from a company guided objective, it'd be more, I guess, thoughtful and can't even pronounce the word.
Well, it's going to be,
think I can't think of what another word, but I can't think of what the word is.
well, it's going to be fascinating to see how it transpires.
Yeah,
I think we've covered quite a bit on this one.
we have.
Like I've said before, if you have any questions or comments, or if there's a topic you'd like us to cover on the podcast, please feel free to email us at FNQ Spiritual, FNQSG7 at gmail.com. If you're looking for a reading or a healing, personal channeling session, let us know that as well. We are still working to go live on the page. There will be a new channeling being uploaded in the next day or two. So, young James, enjoy your trip. Much love and many blessings to each and every one of you. And I'll leave you with the last word.
Take it from us, it's going to be an interesting year. From us here at FNQ Spiritual, I'm James Russell. That is James Thomas. Have a good day.
Konya karata mata shinata.